Welcome to Aging Untold. Part-time help at home sounds simple until real life doesn't line up with the hours you've booked. Making it work takes a plan, prioritizing the right task, keeping routines consistent, and asking the right questions up front. Sam, when a family is setting up part-time care, where do you suggest they start?
Start small. Do not go out there and throw all your pennies out in care that you're not going to need yet. But start small and start early. Try and get care established, get your loved one used to having someone come in and help, and then expand. But don't plan, if your person sleeps until 9 a.m., don't have a caregiver show up at 8. You're paying for an hour for them to be there bird dogging. If they're napping after lunch and they're okay and safe to be alone, don't pay for that time. And talk to an agency that will accommodate minimum amount of hours and see what their minimums are. Lots of agencies will do a 3 or 4 hour, or get a private person that'll do less. But don't try and go out there and think that you got to have an 8-hour day.
Should families expect resistance? Oftentimes.
Always. Always.
That's a given.
You know, it's kind of
it's
funny.
normal.
Yes,
how
it's
many
normal.
of us would love to have somebody come in and clean and cook for us? We would love to.
I would.
But when you right. I mean, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
And
I would
drive me.
and drive me and take care of me. But when it becomes a need instead of a want, then that position changes. So then I become resistant because the idea of having somebody come in and help me says I can't help myself.
Right.
And so you have to establish that first. You have to get over that hump.
Yeah.
I would also say we look so much at what are the hours that I need, and maybe first start off with the non-negotiables and what are your needs, and maybe not necessarily the hours.
Uh-huh.
What is it that I really need, and then expand from there,
Right.
so that you don't overdo it.
Right.
No, I think it's true. And if you try to start with an older person that's resistant anyway with 8 hours, it's a recipe for not working. It's
Yeah.
just not going to work. The thing that you said about finding part-time workers, some companies will really specialize and have a part-time group of people, because sometimes if you hire the wrong company and they have part-time people but there's high turnover because the people work part-time and they want to go to full-time. So if that happens and there's not a company that's in your area that specializes or has a little cadre of part-time workers, be really careful about having a clear job description. So if the person changes, the older person doesn't have to work so hard at saying, no, I like my coffee hot, or no, please put the sheet over my bed, please tie my sheet. Like, they don't
And when
have
you
to
have
work
all
so
those
hard.
people changing, that's confusing for the person
Oh,
too.
It's very
I mean,
confusing.
they're like,
It's very
And
confusing.
always, continuity of care is paramount in this industry.
Yeah.
And so make sure that you get with a company or with someone that
Yeah.
understands how important that continuity is.
That's right.
And then plan your care around, like you said, what you need. So if they're missing their meds, then you have the caregiver there during med time.
yeah.
If they're not eating well, have them there during mealtime.
Yeah. And don't miss the opportunity to say, maybe it's the first conversation about having help, and say, all right, what time would you want them to start?
There you go.
Get that buy-in of, okay, now I want. And the other thing I think about, if you have long-term care insurance, this is a great way to start that long-term care insurance clock, you know?
Yeah.
So many people do not access their long-term care insurance, and if you start part-time, you can look forward to getting your care paid for through that policy.
Right.
because a lot of the companies is very hard on the part-time. You have to have a minimum number of hours.
Well,
And
there's
so it's-
often an elimination period, so you have to start paying on your own for X number of days before the policy kicks in. So lots of them will be 60, 90 days that you have to have care established and paying for it.
Right.
So if you can get that part-time, maybe it's once a week for a few hours. But I always say one task, one day, one time. And so start it that way and try and always have one person. Get
Right.
your person used to having somebody come in and help.
Who could people talk to about evaluating a long-term care policy so they know exactly what's covered and how it works?
Well, okay, so there's several options because every policy is so different. You can't count on one policy being, all the policies are not the same. You can use an aging life care manager to read your policy. There's people out there that specialize in insurance. You can try to read it yourself. People go to an attorney to try to get them. They don't really know long-term care insurance, but get as much preparation ahead of time about about what the policy requires and never, ever, ever let that person be evaluated without someone else present. So,
Right.
in addition to that, Sam, I'm sure you did this too. There's a premium visit. Like I've had people say, I just want care for an hour. You can't get anybody
Yeah,
to
that's
work
what
for
I'm
an
saying.
hour,
That's
but a
kinda hard.
premium visit, like doing a 3-hour or doing like a shorter visit, you pay a little bit more to get a shorter bit of time just to get your foot in the door.
Yeah. A lot of agencies will have like a 3 or 4 hour minimum already. So, and I know I did. Mine was a 2. Now, if you're dealing with somebody that has any kind of a memory impairment when you're establishing that care, you're going to have some issues. You're probably going to have more resistance, but it's more important to go ahead and get it established now.
Yeah.
While they can adjust
That's right.
to having somebody in.
Right.
And then that continuity of care becomes all the more
Yeah.
important. That same person, same time,
yeah,
same
yeah.
regular
Right,
routine.
Right.
It would have helped my family if I would have known that it's normal to have your parents resist,
Oh, yeah.
rather than think, oh, well,
Yeah.
Dawn and Dee aren't going to want people to come into the house. And if I just knew that, oh, this is normal,
Yeah.
and it's something that we can learn how to handle, handle those conversations.
Yeah, it's not normal for someone to say, "Yeah, come on, take over my care."
Yeah.
No, I love it.
I mean, I would love
say
you to
that.
come in and do mine.
I know.
Well, I think, but you have to also remember, just because we have the option to do it ourselves,
Yeah.
they are losing that option. So
That's right.
So that's
Yeah.
a fear.
This is hanging on for dear life.